Welcome to Beyond the Prep, a podcast dedicated to providing information and insights into the bodybuilding sport. This podcast covers a wide range of topics from finding a coach to the struggling of competing, nutrition, supplements, cost, and much more. I'll be talking with competitors so you can hear their stories, judges, coaches. If you're interested in sharing your story, send me a note at skapach40@gmail.com. Welcome to Beyond the Prep. I am your host, Sherrie Capach. I have today Savannah Silver. Thank you for joining me.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So we'll start out with, how long have you been competing in this?
I have been competing since 2015. That's when I did my first show. I did it in New Brunswick, and I was hooked after that. I just fell in love with it. It was like a pure adrenaline rush, and it was like an instant high as soon as I got on stage, and I just knew that's what I want to do.
Nice. So what got you into this sport?
Actually, one of my girlfriends, she tried it first. We were all into the gym, but I never really thought of it. And then I seen the transformation she made, and she looked like a Barbie on stage. And I remember being like, oh my God, I want to look like that. So that's pretty much what got me into it. I seen her transformation and I wanted to push myself and see what I could do myself. And yeah, so I had her, and then a few other friends did it too. But she was the main one. She got me into it. She taught me. Yes.
So when you were doing it, when you were prepping for competition, and did you know what exactly it all entailed with the time frame or the?
No, I just kind of looked at it as almost like a weight loss competition, where I was so wrong. My first show, I came in underweight. I was the smallest on stage, and I did decent, but that was the main critique. They said they loved my look. I was just too tiny. I needed to lift heavier, put on some muscle, and come back. And so, yeah, I took their comments into my thoughts, and I worked, and yeah, I improved from there. So yeah.
Nice. So what do you find the hardest part?
The diet. For sure, hands down. I love working out. Even if I'm not in prep, I work out almost every day anyway. It's not an issue for me. It's more of an issue to keep me away from the gym. But the diet, that's where it's a little hard, because I like variety. I eat healthy anyway, but sometimes you don't get to eat everything you would like when you're on a prep. So I find sometimes that's difficult. Usually just if you want to be social and you go out with friends or whatever, everyone's having a drink or eating bad. So you got to kind of change it up a bit if you want to continue to be social. But yeah, it's still worth it. I think it's worth it.
Right. So when you're saying being social, is there times where you're just no, I'm going to stay home. It's going to be easier that way for now. So
yeah, sometimes, but I feel like everyone's used to me by now. So no one really treats me different. And a lot of the times I'm sober driver. So it helps them out when you think of it that way. So yeah.
Yeah, I've heard some competitors say that. Oh, they like it because
yeah,
drive them home.
Yes, Savannah's coming out right on.
Oh. So I understand. So you have a 4-year-old son.
Yes.
So how is that when you're going through all of the prep part?
I probably have it a little easier than most. Me and his dad do split custody. So, and he's also a bodybuilder. He's my coach, actually. So he will take him for me to train, or his girlfriend will. So they help me out a lot. So even if it's my days, if he's not in school, they will take him for a few hours for me to get to the gym. So yeah, it's not too bad. It's hard sometimes if they're busy, but I do have like gym equipment at the house, it's just not as motivating here. I prefer to go to the gym because I find seeing people kind of lights a little bit of a fire under you and motivates you more. You push harder when people are watching. I do anyway. So
Yeah.
yeah. But if it comes down to it, I could always work out at home. So it's not too bad.
That's good. What about the foods? Because 4-year-olds like just
Oh yeah.
so does that
It doesn't really bother me. Definitely has a sweet tooth and enjoys like the things that most young kids
yeah?
eat. And it doesn't bother me. I can be around it. Like, I guess I'm used to it now. So,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So and keeping because we can get a little hangry sometimes and you just kind of your temper, well, not temper, it's just your mood swings can
Yeah.
get affected a little bit easier, get triggered a little easier.
Yeah. I
So
do find that. I'm just more like emotional. Like, I take things personally, like more personal. Like, I find when I'm dieting than when I'm not. And it's usually the boyfriend that gets that end of the stick. So it's not too bad for everyone else. But yeah, I definitely notice some emotion sometimes, especially when I get closer to the show.
yeah.
But I feel like I'm not too bad. I learned how to control it over the years.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the longer you're into this sport, the more you learn about how to manage things a little easier, a little better, different ways of doing things compared to when it's your first year and
Yeah, my
everything's
first
dramatic.
show, I remember crying a lot my first show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever wonder like why?
Um, that first prep, I remember being like, "What am I doing?" and all that stuff. But as soon as I got on stage, I felt like it. "Oh, okay, yeah, it was worth it."
Yeah.
So I never really questioned it after that. Like,
Yeah. It's all
yeah,
worth it. And then so what's next, right?
yeah, like I'll accomplish one goal, and then immediately it's like, okay, what can I do next? I want to do something else. So yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So what things do you take when you're going to a show? What's the couple of things that you make sure you have with you every time you go to a show?
I always take bed sheets because I learned that the hotel will charge you if
Okay.
you stain them from the tan. I never got charged yet. So I feel like I'm good, but always that, like your own towels, face cloths. Um, yeah, I just take like loose, dark clothing for the tan, flip flops. Um, yeah, like your prep foods, like you have to have all that ready to
Mhm.
go. And yeah, I will take diuretics for like show, like leading up to the show, usually like the night before or the day of. Like there might have been like one or two shows that I didn't take it, but I'll always take something just to like try and come in a little bit tighter.
Mhm. And your coach will always coach you on that as well, like
Yeah, he tells
what
me
you have.
exactly what to take, and yeah.
Right. Right. Nice. So if you have to, yeah, when you're traveling, because you said your first show was in Newfoundland,
Uh,
Newfoundland?
it was in 2015 in Moncton, New Brunswick.
Okay. So when you're traveling, I mean, is there extra because you don't have all the accessories? How do you pack your foods for that?
I usually pack like all my foods in one bag, and I have like I don't know what they're called, but like the freezer ice blocks, and
Oh, yeah.
I'll like put that in there. So I'll have like one big bag just for my food, and then like a suitcase for everything else.
Mhm.
Yeah, usually take quite a bit of stuff, but it's good to be prepared because you don't want to be there and be like, I forgot this or whatever. But yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
not too bad. It's more like routine now.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
So what about backstage? Is there anything essential that you make sure you take with you backstage?
I usually take the bands with me, just for pumping up. Sometimes shows will have like weights and stuff backstage, but not always. So I'll take that, and then usually if there's chairs or stairs or anything around, I'll do like a pump up off of that. But yeah, I at one point took like just like little 5 pound weights, but you never know like who's around, and sometimes people can just take things or stuff like that. But yeah, I always take the rubber bands just to help pump up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever taken like a blanket? Are you ever cold backstage?
Oh, I'm always freezing. The day of the show, oh, it's so cold. So yeah, like I see a lot of girls in like robes and stuff like that, like the thin robes. I'm like, how do they do that? I'm like in a sweater and like long jogging pants. Yeah, I'm always freezing. Yeah.
Yeah, you just leaned out so much. It's like there's no more body fat to keep you.
Oh yeah. But it's good though, because then when you get on stage, like the nerves and everything, like it like evens out. So it's not too bad. So yeah.
Yeah. And the lights shining on you, you get warm fast.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Oh. So if you had any piece of advice, what would your best advice be for someone that's considering even working out and
Um,
eating?
yeah, I would say like take it day by day. Because I find even like little changes do add up. Don't expect like big changes overnight, because I find even now when I start out in prep, the first little bit, I don't notice much changes. And then all of a sudden it's like, you'll notice something. And then from then on, it's like, wow, like, look at the changes. So yeah, just like, don't expect it to happen overnight. Trust the process. If you have a bad day, everyone has a bad day sometimes. So like, say if you cheat on your diet, like whatever, just make up for it the next day. Like, don't quit just because you have one bad day. And try to get around people who will support you in your goals. Because not everyone understands the sport, and they'll just be like, oh, like, why are you starving yourself? I heard that so many times, and I just kind of like shrug it off now. But it's really good when people have like a similar mindset or support even what you're doing just because they care about you. So I would say that.
That's great advice. And yeah, you get the people like, oh, you're getting really thin, and we
Yeah.
eat like way more than you do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I eat 6 times a day. How often do you eat? Yeah.
And they're just amazed by that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So have you always had a coach? Like when you first started, did you have a coach with you?
Yes, I always did, but I started out with a coach. Her name was Charlotte. Um, she was my friend's coach that I seen compete. So I kind of was just like, oh, well, she helped her. I'll get the same coach. And she was great. But then I met my ex-husband, and he was a coach. So I was like, I'll go with him. And yeah, so I had I had a few coaches. Yeah. I had my ex-husband, but when we separated, I did try someone else. But then I was like, no, Jordan knows my body better. I do really well with him. I'm gonna go back. So yeah.
Nice. So are you competing again anytime soon?
Yeah, I'm going to be going to Toronto for August 5th, that show. So it's a natural pro qualifier. So I qualified in February for that one. So yeah, so I'm going to go there. And it's my first time to Toronto, so I'm kind of excited. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So have you competed did you go through then 2015? So you went through the COVID era per se, where did you have anything booked through that time that got canceled or?
Actually, I was really lucky because I know a few people that like prepped for a show and then it was canceled, but my show went on. It's
Oh,
just there was no audience. So I was like, yeah. So it
yeah,
was better than having it canceled because I was like, oh, I probably would cry if
yeah.
I put in all that work and then they were like, no, sorry. But yeah, I was one of the lucky ones.
So how was that going on stage with no audience?
I didn't mind because that show I didn't have any fans anyway. So I was like, woo, I'm at equal playing field now. Because I was like, oh, everyone's gonna have fans and I won't have anyone. But no, everybody was it was just crickets and yeah, I liked it.
So when I see you won an overall?
Yes, last year the Grand Prairie.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was pretty exciting.
Mhm. So in Fort McMurray, you had said,
It was in Grand Prairie.
Grand Prairie, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So yeah, I won the overall there, and then I was I knew a few people doing the Vancouver Pro qualifier, and I was like, maybe I'll try it out. Like I never been to one, just want to like sort of put my foot in the water, see what it was about, and so I think it was like a month later I went
Okay.
to the Vancouver Pro qualifier, and I was like, whoa, there's a whole different playing field. Like everyone was like so hard and like everyone looked amazing. But yeah, I think it was a little intimidating. And then that's kind of where I got the idea. Maybe I should try a natural show. I'm pretty tiny. So I was like, maybe like, I don't know, who knows? But I was like, maybe I'll have a better shot or like look more like the rest of the people at a natural show. So
Yeah.
that's where I got that idea.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of next level, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I felt all jacked going there, and then I see everybody else, and I'm like, whoa. Yeah,
You're just kind of like, okay.
yeah, like yeah.
It's a great
Okay.
experience, though. Like
It
even
was great. Yeah, I wasn't upset at all. I placed fourth in my height class.
that's
Uh,
fantastic.
yeah, but yeah, I just felt like I was like on a movie set or something. I was like, everybody's gorgeous. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, that's great though. Going and because you never know, right?
Yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. Like, I wouldn't say I'm chasing a pro card because, like, it doesn't really matter to me. It's just a hobby. But I feel like if I qualify, might as well give it your all and just go in and see what happens because you never know.
Absolutely. Yeah, you
Yeah,
never know who's in there. You never know who's going to be on stage, and you never know what kind of package. Like your prep changes every single year with your body, so
exactly. Yes.
improving every year, and the package you're delivering on stage is always
Yeah,
different too.
that's true.
Always a
I,
challenge.
yeah. Most of the time, every time I compete again, it's like a better package. So
Hmm,
hopefully this one's even better. We'll see.
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right. Well, on that note, we'll end it in here. And I want to thank you again for
Yeah.
coming
Thank
on
you.
the show. And good luck in Toronto. I will hopefully see you there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So,
that would be good. Come say hi.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It'll be great. You're in bikini, you said, correct?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
bikini division.
Perfect.
All right. Well, I'll see you again. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining me.
No problem.
Bye bye.
Bye.
I want to thank my guests today and my listeners for joining me at Beyond the Prep. If you like this episode and want to make sure you don't miss any others, please subscribe. You can also find us on YouTube.